Hello, welcome to yet another video on classical literary criticism. In this video, I will be discussing the Roman poet and philosopher Horace. Horace is considered as one of the members of the triumvirate of classical criticism. The other two are Aristotle and Longinus. Now, Horace is famous for his seminal work titled Ars Poetica, which means the art of poetry. The key word or the main critical concept of Horace is decorum. Decorum is the Latin term for what is proper and what is right. In his seminal work, Ars Poetica, The Art of Poetry, Horace explains the difficulty and seriousness of poetic art and gives technical advice to poets. The aim of the poet, according to Horace, is either to benefit or to amuse, to make his words at once please and give lessons of life through very brief instructions. So, the key word or the key critical concept that Horace introduced is decorum, which means what is proper and right. Horace defines decorum as a classical concept that means par excellence. He explains the notion of decorum in terms of a proper balance between didactic and entertaining, a proper regard for the audience, and a mimesis of nature and of art itself. Horace emphasizes that decorum is a studied and diligent study of what is proper and becoming in thought, action, and style. In a good poem, action should fit the character and expression should fit the subject matter. Grave and serious issues should be treated with dignity and trivial matters should be treated with humility. Beauty, according to the principle of decorum, is order and fitness. This idea has its origin in the Greek doctrine of forms, especially in Aristotle's propriety of style as discussed in the Rhetoric. So, decorum is avoiding incongruities. For example, Horace tells us that a creature with a human head, the neck of a horse, the body of a beautiful woman, and the tail of a hideous fish would never be appropriate. Decorum dictates the differences between various genres of poetry such as tragedy, comedy, lyric, epic, pastoral, satiric, elegy, and epigram. Horace warns poets never to confuse genres or to mingle tragedy with comedy. Now, decorum must be maintained in the use of language also. Appropriate language should be used to express feelings and should vary according to the character. Words should always be chosen with care and subtlety. Meter should be in tune with the theme of the poem. For instance, iambic meter is fit for satires, whereas elegiac couplet is more suitable for laments. Characterization, according to Horace, must be appropriate and consistent. The child is ever changing and fickle, whereas the youth will be rash, sportive, and haughty. The middle aged is circumspect and tries to acquire wealth and influence and praises the past. So, artists and poets should acknowledge the superiority of the Greek classical writers and imitate them. It is the duty of every artist, every poet, to honor and imitate the already established traditions in art. For example, Achilles should always be portrayed as Homer did, spirited, hot tempered, ruthless, and fiery. The seminal work of Horace, Ars Poetica, The original title was Epistles to the Pisos. It was written about somewhere around 19 or 18 BC as in the form of epistles, in the form of letters to a man named Piso and his sons. It consists of 476 lines containing nearly 30 maxims for young poets. And some critics see it as an unsystematic extension of Aristotle's discussion of the internal propriety of each literary genre. Ars Poetica, or what Horace has mentioned in Ars Poetica, the technical advice that he gives, this has had a profound influence on later poetry and criticism. The advice is to poets to read widely, to strive for precision, and to find the best criticism available. So, according to Horace, writing well means uniting natural predisposition, that is, your natural talent, your inherent creative talent, with long study and a solid knowledge of the literary genres. So, Ars Poetica is not a systematic history of literary criticism like Aristotle's Poetics or an exposition of theoretical principles. It is rather a series of insights into writing poetry, into choosing genres, and combining genius with craftsmanship. The contents of Ars Poetica fall into three major divisions. Poiesis, the treatment of content. Poiesis is, according to poetry, that which according to Horace is not a mere imitation. So for Horace, poetry is a mimetic, a creative adaptation with an organic unity. The subject matter or the content of poiesis should be simple, consistent, and contain brilliant and ornate passages. The second major division, poema, which refers to the form of a poem. In this, Horace emphasizes that Greek models should be imitated. So, drama is to Horace like the epic and the lyric. The plot must be original with innovative themes. Incidents should be logically connected. Greek models to be strictly followed in order to achieve excellence, and the chorus should always be an integral part of the plot. The last major division, poetis, it contains the description of how a poet ought to be. So, poets should toil incessantly to attain artistic skill. Poets should keenly observe men and their manners. They should be noble and dignified in character. A poet should always aim to please and instruct without making profit. He should be free of faults and proud of his poetic talent. Horace treats excessive indulgence in poetic madness or inspiration as absurd. Finally, Horace says that decorum is a sine qua non for stage representation. A tragedy should neither be longer nor shorter than 5 acts. It is always better to show than to merely tell or report the episode on stage. Horace distinguishes between the two kinds of action, the performed and the narrated. He also says that barbarous and repulsive acts should not be shown on stage, they should only be reported. There shouldn't be more than 3 characters on stage simultaneously. An unnatural resolution to tie up the loose ends of the plot should be avoided. The chorus should not sing unnecessarily and only to further the plot. So, these are the theoretical principles that Horace mentions in Ars Poetica, and as mentioned earlier, they are not in any systematic manner. But Horace's principles seem to be largely based on Aristotelian theories and interpretations. Hence, he has been often accused of lacking in originality and as a mere borrower of ideas. But he is important because he has repeatedly asserted the supremacy of the Greek classics. Horace's concept of decorum is of lasting value in literary criticism. Along with Virgil, Horace is the most celebrated of the Augustan poets, and he has had a lasting influence on critics and poets like Ben Jonson, Alexander Pope, Auden, Robert Frost, and many others. Horace is often referred to as the first neoclassical critic because he looked up to the ancient Greek writers. So, according to Wimsatt and Brooks, Horace's decorum is based on literary standards. It is not social or political, but natural. I hope you found this video on Horace useful. Thank you so much for your patient listening.